Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Rises, Amplify, and Thrive live speaker series, where we bring the most amazing spiritual masters, gurus, visionaries, healers, change makers, thought leaders, and we just bring them all together here on this platform to just share their wisdom, their insight, just to share their heart with all of you. And one of the best parts I believe about this is that when you come to participate, and if you love what you hear and you want to participate and get involved in the services of our speakers. Every time that you donate, it goes to She Rises Foundation, which is really about empowering women to step into their leadership, to really just be the best version of who they are, which I love to call coming home to self, and really knowing who they are and what your donations go to. All 100% of it all goes to scholarships and funding, just to help them, again, just come home to who they are. So today we have Nan Akasha on, and Nan is a spiritual teacher, master energy healer, and channel with over 38 years of mystery school and shamanic training. She is known as the Faerie Goddess Mother. She helps others unlock soul lineages and hidden gifts through ancient wisdom and light body healing. And today we're going to talk about the sacred path to prosperity, priestess wisdom for a spiritually fulfilling life and legacy. Welcome, Nan. I'm so excited to have you here with us again.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I love your space. I love your group. Thank you, everybody. I'm really happy to be here.
So let's dive in. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about priestess wisdom and energy. And so I'm going to start off with, what does the return of the priestess mean, and how is it connected to prosperity?
Well, the juicy part of that is like everybody wants to know, okay, prosperity. Right. So the first thing is to define prosperity. Yes, it includes money, but it's not only money, because to prosper is to grow. So to grow, to expand, and if you know anything about fish, they grow to the size of their pond. They have an innate sense of their environment and they don't get too big for their space. And this is where we have been programmed into. We've been conditioned to not grow out of a certain image or idea, not only of how much we're worthy of having or how easy or effortless it could be to receive prosperity, but to be supported in every possible way that you feel safe and ready to prosper. And to me, I embody that idea of a seed that can sit there for how long, waiting for the perfect environment. And when the water and the warmth and the temperature and the shade and everything come together, it feels safe. It sets down roots and then it breaks out of its shell and then it reaches. And it doesn't say, oh, wait, do I have enough money to go on this trip? Maybe I better not. I'll stay here for a while. It keeps growing, it keeps reaching, it keeps expanding. There's no limit or lack. That abundance is in the nature. It's that inner blueprint. We have that too, but we've been taught not to listen to it. So when we wake up and we do all these wonderful spiritual tools and meditations and everything, we're literally remembering that we're using enormous amounts of energy to suppress our prosperity, to suppress our nature, to suppress the sacred feminine, the intuitive pathways, not trust it. Well, this is our number one guidance system. The human telepathic system is been so effectively dumbed down and erased and disconnected, but mostly through like psychologically, right? It's stupid, it's silly, it's for little girls, it's evil, whatever it's been. And now you have people waking up and nobody can deny there's changes. Some people think it's horrible, whatever they want, but you're going to see very quickly people having these encounters, walking through a portal when they're walking down the street to school, going to be seeing a priestess appear, or a nun walk out of a convent when they walk by. Like we're raising our frequency, and the other realms are seeing us, and we're going to not be able to deny this. And the only way we can effectively be safe and have that sense of being able to, okay, I'm going to set down my roots. We haven't felt safe. We've been burned and erased and blamed and, no vote, no whatever, right? So we all know the story. Doesn't matter, because we're here, and we're here at that moment. It's a resurrection, but not from something to be old again, from us to embody a completely new container. We have more wisdom right now than we realize, and we have the ability to tap into our ancient. So the priestess to me is, and I'm started calling it the everyday priestess, is what's on the rise right now, is that I've been trained to be a priestess in other lives, but also in this one. And I'm a priestess of Athena, oracle from Delphi, and I'm a priestess of Brigid, Celtic lineage, and a priestess of Ishel, which is a Mayan. And but I never used the word, because really until about a year ago, it still has that connotation to a lot of people of maybe it's taboo, or maybe it's forbidden, or maybe it's evil, or I don't know, is that safe? Do I have to protect myself? So, as that energy shifts, so many of my students are saying this year, like, oh my God, I resonate with that word. I don't know why. I resonate. I feel like I'm supposed to remember that. And to me, it's the wise woman. And the woman specifically, this isn't about men or women, because men and women both have energy, masculine, feminine. Okay, these are polarities. And we have a buried sacred feminine, and a completely toxic sacred masculine. And these are energies. And that's what we've been living in. We don't know what balance is. We have never seen a balanced sacred feminine person or anything, right? Either one. We've never seen it, not for hundreds and hundreds of years, very rarely. And so we're looking at becoming something we've never seen, and we're looking at trusting in the uncertainty of what's breaking down. And we've been taught to trust what's happening outside, and having money in your bank, and having a job, and having a paycheck, and pleasing these people, and that will make you safe. So we're being asked right now to unhook from a lot of stuff, not just tradition, not just from pleasing others, not just from habits, not just from that, but vows that go through time and space, because all that time and space is unraveling to us. We're available to all of it. Every day is the day to walk with your spirit, not on Saturday, not for an hour or 10 minutes in the morning. And then walking around saying, where's prosperity? Where's prosperity? When do I get this? Well, think about to prosper. Are you asking for more money? Are you asking for more love, more support, more energy, more health, more whatever it is you want? What do you want to prosper in? Are you prospering in areas you don't want to prosper in? Because people ask for abundance, but then you don't get specific. And the universe, the subconscious, the sacred feminine especially, it gives you exactly what you give her. If you're saying, I'm rich, I want to be rich, I know I'm rich, it's almost here, it's going to be here at any time, I can feel it, I'm getting better, and I did that for years. You have to start somewhere. But you're literally saying you don't have it if it isn't there. You're asking the universe to not give it to you by saying it's coming, I'm waiting, I can see it, it's going to be there one day, it'll happen. So we put delay language in there. That's what we're taught. We put in time. It's going to be hard, it's going to take a lot of time. So all of these things are using our power against ourselves, using our word against ourselves, using our energy, our visual capacity, our imagination against ourselves. And all those powers have been turned down. When you turn those back on, you are literally reconnecting these channels of your intuitive pathways. The Maya believed or taught or lived with 20 senses. I've learned in my Egyptian mystery schools about 360 senses. And so whatever it is, okay, I don't worry about getting too much into the math. If you like that, there's a lot of really good sacred geometry out there. The idea is that we are so vast, and we have been taught to ignore and deny 355 senses. That takes some serious energy. How do you prosper when all your energy is going, no, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. I don't hear the angels. This isn't really what I'm supposed to do. I really want to go on this trip, but I shouldn't because of these reasons in the 3D world, and other people would be mad at me. They get to decide how I spend my money, or I don't trust spirit that is for my soul, and the money will show up because I have to see the money first, So we have this conflict. And the wise ones are gathering now. That's the prophecy of this time. It's a metamorphosis where everything falls apart because seriously, it may seem scary, but we don't want any of these systems anymore. We don't want
Right.
this. We have to have them fall apart because then we go, oh, what do we do? Oh, we should think of it differently. Oh, we could do this differently. So this is our opportunity. This is not chaos in a bad way. This is chaos as a new blending recipe that we get to fertilize, we get to put our energy into. You want a world of harmony. And what would make you prosper? What would make you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe with money? Do you feel safe asking for money? Do you feel safe being successful, being seen? What are you asking the universe for? And then look inside of you. Does your conversation outside match the conversation going on inside? When you think, oh yeah, there goes all my money, or oh, I'll be broke again, or that's great that that payment came in, but it's already spoken for, and I've always end up in the same place. Even if you're not saying it anymore, because most people have learned not to say it. If you're saying it in here, you're still creating it. The universe literally isn't going, oh, you don't want that. Don't do that. It's just standing there going, okay. It doesn't have any emotion about it. It's not judging you if you want it, or if you don't want it, if you're afraid of it, if you're desperate for it. But it does. So if you suffer, they don't care. You're not going to win anything by suffering. You're not going to win anything by sacrificing. You're not going to win any favor. There's no special spiritual force out there that is watching you suffer saying, way to go. That's a pure bullshit story that we were fed. To suffer means you're meek and you're worthy and you're spiritual and you can deny yourself. And then one day, maybe when you're dead, you can have a prize. I don't know what it's like we've got it like, what? Let's unhook from this nonsense and see what is it for. It was just to ignore our power. It was to disconnect from it, because the minute that you realize you are the creator, that you are divine in a human body, that you're both, you have to take care of both, that you cannot go your whole day without taking care of your spiritual body. You've it's not a choice anymore unless you really want to have a wacky life, to ignore your intuition that's awakening. Get some training. The government spend a lot of money. The military spends a lot of money. Wall Street, high executives spend a lot of money on honing their intuitive skills. They don't tell you that. So, priestess is the wise woman awakening within you that says, oh, I already know this. I've been here. I am here with a purpose. And when I understand what that is, when I'm willing to look within me for the answers instead of around me, taking your power back literally means, I wonder what my next steps are. And you don't go talk to 15 people and tell them your stuff and hear their opinion unless they have a particular point of view. Like I might go to my Mayan priest and say, okay, what's the ceremony for this? Or what's the sacred mantra for that? Or something like that's wisdom. Okay, but what do you think? Should I go here or there? What do you think? Stop it. The only person you should be asking is inside of here. And then you start to respect and recognize that you are awakening, that you have this wisdom, that you can reach through time and space to when you were a priestess here, or when you were a medicine woman there, or when you were a loving mother there, or you were a queen over there, or whatever it is you need. Because you're the creator and you create through what you believe about yourself. So if you started believing you were infinite, you came with this purpose, you might already believe that, but you expand. What are the limits to that? Is somebody else in charge? So when you awake to become an everyday priestess, you do things like, no, nobody else, money doesn't get to tell me what to do. Doesn't get to say where it comes from. Oh, it only comes from a job. No, I haven't had a job in, I don't know, 40 years.
I love it.
All right. So, I mean, I have a business, so, but, it's those programs that hold you from connecting to a universal force that is now supposed to awaken our Kundalini, which is, yes, part of the tantric thing, but that's what people have been also, oh, it's just about that. No, it isn't. That's your life force. Your Janisa crystal is right there with your coiled potential Kundalini or Koyopa, which the Maya call your lightning in your blood. And that is being awakened by the snake energy this year. You're shedding old ideas, but you're also energizing that part of you that holds the codes. It's where your 8 original cells are that built your body, hold your spiritual blueprint. And I don't know, it depends on what aspect you've been healing. But when you start to realize this, It's like making a sacred commitment. It's like saying, vowing to become a nun or something. I don't know, like just that kind of serious devotional commitment to be you, the you came to be, to remember your powers, to not validate and apologize for yourself, to not think taking care of yourself and prospering, giving yourself what you need to prosper, and not being caught up with ego, being humble, but being worthy. That's a very interesting combination. When you do that, the universe steps in and plays that part. You agreed to come and do and be the only person that can be who you are. And then the universe agreed to supply you with everything that you need. Now, if you want to run after big ego stuff, and I've done that, and that maybe you can have money, but if you're like, no, I need $1 million and 14 mansions and then I'll be successful, that's okay. Become a really good manifester. You can have any of it, but it isn't the point. Right. So I hesitate to say that because people are like, oh, I'm going to go find somebody who's going to tell me that it's all about making money and say you're going to make money and tomorrow you have money. Really, I'll be honest, the energy of money is a spiritual energy. It's a spiritual flow. And I've gone down this road really, really far because I made a lot of money and I lost it. And I made a amount of money and I lost it. And then I went through a divorce and I went through a bankruptcy and on and on and on. So I got to play that game and fly and dig and, with that energy for a long time. And I started thinking, well, what is the spirit of money and what's my relationship with it? Right. So prosperity can only come when you feel all those things ready to root and then express yourself. And then they flow naturally from within you. It's effortless that we were talking about. And not effortless like easy, because you're going to think it's hard to manage your thoughts. You're going to think it's hard to master your emotions. You're going to think it's hard to not go out with people and criticize everybody and blame everybody and agree to be a part of that story of what's considered normal. But I don't live that life and I haven't, so it doesn't have to be normal, and it can be lonely. And so this is just what's happening, and how you get to experience it is like, wow, yes, it's coming. I'm going to prepare for it. I'm going to invite it. I'm going to see where it's awakening within me. And then I'm willing to step onto that path with devotion. I don't even know what your question was. There you go.
That's all right. You shared a lot of, you shared a lot of really good information on that. But ultimately, it just before everybody else hopped on, that it kind of comes back to what we were talking about, just really coming home to who you are and really just, you know, I have to say the same thing. I'm like, I wanted to chase a lot of money. I went through all the conditioning. I had to go to school. I have to find the perfect job. I've got to make a lot of money. And ultimately, in the end, when I sat there with it, I just felt empty. I was like, and I kind of looked at all of it and I was like, there's got to be more meaning to this than that. So of course, to go run after looking for meaning, but it was always inside here. It was just who I was. And I feel like once I got in touch with that, my entire world changed and shifted. And then, of course, I sat there going, God, it was really just that easy. I just had to come home to me instead of chasing everything else.
It's hysterical in the end. It's
Mhm.
amusing. It is a
Yes.
cosmic joke in a way, not a joke on you, and a bit stunning.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we've barely tapped into how much it's right here. It's right
Mhm.
here. It's right here. In my intuitive classes, that they always seem this year to be saying it's at your fingertips. It's at your fingertips. It's right there. It's right there. It's at your fingertips. And our fingertips are igniting and activating and becoming light and becoming very sensitive to receiving and sending information. So, but yeah, it's so interesting. And it's like, you know what? I'm not against having money. I'm not against having
Mhm.
things. And it's why you want it and what you think it's going to do for you, right?
Right.
Like you said.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, okay, it's the journey you go on. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's a sacred text there. The main character is sitting with God, let's just say generically, right? And they're watching this battle. And this main character is supposed to be in the battle and is supposed to make decisions. He's kind of like a king or an important person in his family and stuff. So he's asking all these philosophical questions, And
Mhm.
one of them was, why do I want this? And I go try to make this happen. And it doesn't always I don't get it, but I did everything, for it. And the answer from source was, no one promised you the result. No one. That was never ever anywhere did somebody say, oh, if you decide you want buy that house, that if you start to try to buy that house, you will buy that house. But we have this concrete masculine idea of make a goal, go make it happen, then you get it, don't ever let it go, conquer it, hold on to it forever, make it more worthy, pile all your money around you, and then you will be worthy, then you are to be respected, then you have a statue in the, in the town square, and this like money needs to circulate. It's like suffocating, people hoarding this energy. The law of circulation is just going like this. How can you have balance when people are, and just the belief that it's finite? It's so vast, the possibilities that we have now to access that can open us to realize, okay, I can have that goal. I actually teach to my students, what do you want? And I say want, and I want you to tell me what you want. Like, what does your emotion want? What does your craving want? And what are you bitching about in your head? And when do I get that? Like, what do you want? Okay. And we're doing spiritual work, and we're not going to go chase an ego want. But if you don't address it and accept it, it's sitting right there. It's,
Mhm.
it's taking your energy. You've got to like get the octopus off your head, like, right? You've got to like, okay. And I say, it's what spirit's putting on your plate. What's on your plate? No, I don't want to think about that. I want to go through this. No, what's on your plate? And I was like, why does this keep coming back up? Let's look at that. Not like you're doing anything wrong, but good. Now we can go deeper. Good. Now we can go deeper. Now we're getting to the cause. Now we're getting to the root. Something's good going to happen because everything is the same thing. It just varies in degree. So it's like a thermostat, 0 to 100, lack, tons of lack, complete lack, and then you dial up a little bit and a little bit of lack, medium, and then you could dial all up to like massive abundance, and you've got $80 million or something like that, right? So if you're looking at money in that scale, you could say, I just want all of it, and that'll solve all my problems. Well, I could really advise you to get rid of that request because and I used to be one of these people, just give me a lot of money. I'll do it. I'm working, I'm giving good value. I just want a lot of money. Then I'll figure everything else out. I'll figure out how to build a business. I'll figure out who needs the money and where to buy the house. I'll do it. Just give me the money. So my focus was the money, but I'm asking for an intangible spiritual energy that I want to then own. And that I'm giving the responsibility to that to then fix this and do that and go here. And that's fine because money actually loves inspired action and creativity, by the way. It's like, ooh, what's going on over there? So, but the thing is that we attach things like blame and money being hard or money being scarce or money being evil or money. So, if somebody was like, I want you, 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 come over here. And you go, okay, I'm coming. And then you show up and you say, you're unreliable and you're evil and you're all these other things that I believe. Do you want to hang out?
Right.
Okay, I seriously have to think about the energetics of it because you
Mhm.
can work really hard and make a lot of money. You could work 80 hours a week. You can sacrifice your health. You can do all that and you will get some results, but it won't ever be sustainable because until you change who you are in here, which is change, are you wealthy? Are you a part of, do you believe you're one with the universe? Do you believe that the flow of abundance works for you, through you, to you all the time? Do you believe if you step into your spiritual purpose more and more and discover who you are, and the universe will step up and take care of you? Are you willing to let it take care of you and not put requirements on it and then walk around disappointed and not accepting what is being delivered? Because every penny that comes to you, every compliment, every client, every anything that enters your life, what would be the highest and best good would be to thank it and to bless it and to multiply it and send it back to that person to ask 10,000 fold to flow to them, and through you the same thing, whether it's a word, whether it's a coin, whether it's anything. So we have actually a network at our tongue, at the tip of our tongue. We could bless, multiply, and create abundance and prosperity in the world if every one of us did that, if you could imagine. So we did recently a show, a workshop called Money Manifestation Magic. And I made a $3 donation, and it's still on the website if anybody wants to grab it right now. And it ended up being a 3-hour workshop. And we were like, part of it was I taught you how to do this, how to bless and multiply everything. And that if you paid $3 or you chose to pay 5 times that, and you paid more, whatever, that's fine. But every dollar you donated, we literally came together and collectively blessed it and multiplied it. Now that's an environment like rich soil, where we're recognizing, acknowledging in its energy, that it's infinite, that you giving me $3 isn't like, oh my God, now I'm going to die and starve. I mean, it's not even about the amount. Okay. What if it was $3,000? What do you believe when you give that money? What's the energy? When you receive that money, what's the energy? And then expand that out to everything else, prosperity and love and friendship and opportunities and, feeling good about yourself mostly.
Oh, yes, yes, I love it. I want to highlight this part because I think this is one of the things that we forget about is what you were saying. What is the energetics about when you go to give it? How do you feel? And then how do you receive? And it was so interesting because when you said that, it immediately triggered in me. I'm like, oh, I'm imbalanced in that. And didn't even realize that because the I'm going to say kind of the idea of when I give it and what are my thoughts, even when it comes to like paying a bill, like when you
Exactly.
pay one of the things that I had started to do is, well, because I went from the mindset of, oh my gosh, do I have enough money to pay my bills? Right. And then I'm like, oh, I'm all the student loan bills due. So I would sit there and be like, do I have enough money to do this? And I found myself like every month, it was almost like my stress would start here and then it would get higher and higher and higher. So then when I changed that energy behind it to, oh, when I pay my student bill, it's going back out into the circulation. It means that this is going to work for someone else. I realized, and then I started to apply that to all my other bills that we have. I mean, we got to pay bills. Like I could feel my whole inside, even just saying it now, I could feel the energy shift because I've put I put a new energy on it, and it's not the energy of lack, it's the energy of I'm having the ability to give back, and I know this is going to go to someone else, and then that someone else will pay it forward, and it
Yeah.
will keep going. But
Yeah.
I'm human too, so sometimes I kind of fall back into it because I could feel it when you said that, and I was like, oh, okay, I got to go back and revisit that. So there's still a little bit of peace or something there, but
Well,
um
it's interesting too, because we have that with the paying of the bills.
mhm.
So eons ago, when I first got online, I did a class called The Spirit of Money, and one day the spirit of debt, the voice of debt, is what they called it, came through, and it was fascinating. And the voice of debt said, "Why am I different than the money you want? Why don't you want me, and why do you want that money? Because I was money when I came to you and you wanted me. You wanted me really bad. And the universe says, yes, we trust you. Here you go. Here's the money. And now you hate me, you feel guilty that you have me, you pay the bill from like that. Oh, I hate this. When's it going to be over? I can't have it, or I never have it, or I'm whatever the story is, right? So if you have those feelings, we were all taught to do that. If you have that thought, it's finite, like I just retired and I only have this much money, you're literally telling the universe to provide that experience for you. And I can't tell you how strongly these are not, like you said earlier, I'm kind of going back to the basics, and I thought it's so funny because in the last year and a half, the things that spirit's been, like weaving into my spiritual path, has been a lot of basics, like divine laws. And I'm like, I know this, I've been there, I do this, and they're like, yeah, do it again, like go deeper. There's another layer to this. And who are you now? And how can you experience it? And how can you embody it? And how can you see through that and really embody these divine laws? Because they're infallible. It's like trying to play a game. Nobody told you the rules. You're never going to win. You're never going to have fun, So it's like we have to remember that. And wow, the possibilities when you start realizing everything that goes out from you and everything that comes in. So when this people were signing up for this workshop, I was opening every single email. I don't normally do that, it's just all on automatic there, but I was doing it because I wanted to see the person's name and then the amount. So if it was like $3, and then I would do the blessing. So it wasn't just in the group, but because the intent of the whole thing was to provide this information to lift people up in exactly like what we're talking about, right? Like laws that don't fail, where simple practical things you can apply right now to what you're doing, what you're thinking. Like you just had an aha, oh good, I could do that. How profound that is. One of my students asked me, she said, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I listened to the first part twice during breakfast. Like all these different concepts, and we talked about blessing all the money you sent out and all the money you've received. And she said, okay, because I teach that you are timeless. Basically, you can move through time and space and connect to parts of you in time and space and so on. And so she said, could I go back and do that to money in the past that I paid out with bad energy? And I said, huh? And she's like, oh, it's like you start understanding the depth of this simple thing. And at first it sounds kind of airy fairy, like, oh yeah, because we had the new age and we all were barely waking up to being grateful. Really being grateful helps, but then it was given this power, like just being grateful is going to just manifest your hunk dunk door, soulmate next to you. It's like there's a few other laws, so we're waking up to the maturity of another level of these spiritual laws and another level of what prosperity is. And just look at what's on your plate. Like I said, so we go, what do you want? I want money. Okay. Why do you want it? Like seriously ask that. Don't be like, oh, duh, be like, well, because then I'll feel safe, or well, then I could do what I want. I don't have to ask so and so, or well, then I won't feel stress, or whatever. Like actually ask yourself, because you want to see what is the internal answer, not your little prepared answer that's in your head to please the world, like what comes up within you. And then be like, okay, why do I want the money? And keep going, what's underneath that and what's underneath that, because you're going to get to the part of you that we all have a primal fear. It's never going to go away. I used to try to work on this. We can't go away from our primal fear that says, oh my God, I'll lose everything and I'll die in a gutter on drugs with Bubba, or in jail or something. It's kind of where it ends up if you follow that down, because it's the tribal mentality. Don't upset the tribe. Get along, fit in, don't stand out, don't be weird, don't use your intuition, be normal, get a responsible job. It's not just now, that's been going on a long time, and it meant literal survival in the past. I mean, I've probably one of the most vivid past lives I've been through where I was really there. I was outcast from the village in a very dense forest in Europe, which was, dark forest, and I froze to death. And I can remember laying on the ground and my cheek on the dirt, and just looking out across the forest floor by myself as I just slowly froze to death. It was very peaceful, but it's that idea that if you're outcast, you'll die is still in our bones. And yet we want to be individual. And right now, you have to honor that individual while understanding that when you get to the point of really honoring and self-realizing, know thyself, like the oracle in Delphi said, know thyself. It's the best thing. Well, do you know yourself? Do you know who you really are? Whose dreams are you chasing? Whose world are you living in? Whose rules are you following? Because you're here to create a world. And now you're going to be on a path where, whether you like it or not, you're going to have more intuition, more nudges, more experiences that are offering you a different reality, and the prosperity will be very nice for that. And it's there, but we can't chase it, force it, ask it to come in a certain way and all of that, unless we want to play the human world of overworking, stressing, and getting sick. And I don't play that world anymore. So the more you trust, it's a scary process, but it's really amazing.
Right. And it, and it like it really is a scary process. But like you said, I I I have days where I kind of feel like I backslide, but I get back on track and I'm like, no, no, like the universe will really provide. And I feel like I can say that now with confidence because I've experienced that where, it's not that I like to go, I'm bringing back the bills thing, but like to worry about my bills, it's that survival that is kind of always scratching in the back of your head. But, now I'm like, but I know, like you said earlier, you said money just doesn't come from one way of a job. And
No.
I've really been learning that lesson this year. And then every time I trust, it's like, I sit there and I'm like, oh well, like that money will come. And then all of a sudden, some like, you get a client or, my favorite is when I do get like a random check in the mail for something that I overpaid
Oh,
or something,
yeah. Yeah.
or
It's amazing too, and those things are really fun. They're really magical. They're
yeah,
signs, right? And again, if you blessed it, if you were like, if you told your friend and they said, "Yeah, but it was only $50," and they're looking down on it already, and you're like, "Now that's 50 blessings. That's 50
yeah,
multiplications. That's 50, like that." And if you have one penny, you bless it, and then it
mhm,
multiplies, and you don't beg. You're not begging anything, yourself, the universe. You don't have to beg. It's already there. It's waiting for you. It's literally like somebody standing like this, but you're standing here with a pile full of why, where, when, how, why not me? And, for me, it was a lot of self-esteem and unwanted and unworthy. And no matter how hard I worked, type of thing, which is why I would make tons of money. And then it would all go away in one way or another because
right,
inner core beliefs. So I have to go deeper if I want to sustain prosperity, which now is to the point in my path where I've had to commit to the spiritual masters that I will. And I do, but I mean, I have to become the next level. My path isn't just living and teaching it all the time, but becoming self-realized. That was the term used. And if you really ponder that for a little while, you'll see the difference between if you already are a spiritual teacher and someone says be a spiritual teacher and you go, okay, thanks dude, but I am being a spiritual teacher right now. That means there's another level open for you, and that level is accepting without ego, because the biggest false face of ego is the face of the victim.
ooh, yes,
It's
ooh, I just felt that so strongly when you said that. I was like, uh-huh.
That is a real double dare dipping evil little pot to live in, because you feel worthy and better than others. You feel desperate, and therefore it's okay for you to embody that and to expect other people to act differently and to wear your wounds and to identify with this. And here's the thing, whether you're talking about what you feel when you pay your bills, or you're talking about your self-identity, which is the thing you got to change if you're walking around like it never works out for me and my family isn't rich and I've been abused and people should have said they're sorry to me and it's not fair. That's fine. I'm not saying that that's probably not true in one sense. There's a lot of bad stuff that is not pleasant. However, if you want to keep focusing on it, talking about it, identifying with it, you can. That's your free will, but you're just going to keep creating it. You're going to create more and more circumstances, more and more diseases, more and more depression, more and more whatever. It's just the bottom line. And so if you change now, I'm not going to agree to any story I don't want to live. And I'm
Yeah,
only going to speak with my words, because this is a spell. This is a curse. And we've literally, one of the things the priestesses are saying to me, circles and circles of priestesses. I recently did an article for Awaken magazine called The Rise of the Everyday Priestess. And I'm doing a summit soon called the Return of the Priestess. And that's what we're talking about. It's this idea that we have to embody our intuitive self. We have to remember that we have access to powers and wisdom and medicine way beyond our comprehension. And we don't have to go learn it. We don't have to get 10 degrees. We don't have to have $1 million. We don't have to be skinny. We don't have to be whatever. They're all the human rules about what we have to be. No, we have to be here. We have to be now. And then we can talk to that part of us that knows all this, and it can find all the solutions. And we have to be in the center, in the present moment. So if you want money, it's okay, but shift why do you want the money? And then ask for what you want instead of ask for the money, because that's a completely different conversation.
Oh,
And
yes. Oh, I love that. Ask for what you want, not the money.
yeah,
Yes.
how many people here, right? Raise your hand, okay? If you go, just give me the money and then I can buy the trip. Just give me the money and then I'll do this, and just give me the money. And so you're not even focused on what you want. Therefore, you're telling the universe all you do is want that money. But if you want the money, you don't have the money. So you'll be in a perpetual state of wanting the money. And this is extremely important, okay? These are laws of the universe. It's not going to bend for you. It's not going to say, oh, sweet Kelly, she doesn't know any better. Let's just give her the money, even though she says it's not here yet. They have to obey you. They could be standing there going, here, Kelly, here's the money. Oh, she doesn't want it now. She said it's coming soon. When soon? I don't know. Let's just hang out here till she says it's soon. Like it's
Yeah.
funny, but it's true.
True. It is
So
true.
true. And so the coherence of your thoughts and your words, the coherence of your vision. I have lifelong patterns that I've unraveled over time and find deeper layers of still of the I'm unwanted, I'm unworthy, I have to work harder than everyone else. And I can have wealth for a while, but it's not mine. Somebody else is in charge of it, and they can say something and it all goes away. It's kind of like what my life did. So now I'm at the point where that's not manifesting anymore, but I noticed that right down here in the back of my sacral, I'm carrying some energy that's still saying, well, what if it doesn't work? What if there's a horrible consequence? What if it just sneaks up on you from behind? Because that stuff's happened. So we don't want to require everything to disappear in a moment, and then that's the proof of success. And we cannot ask for the proof of success before we actually embody it, because it cannot come into our house until we have the house. Do you see what I mean? Like we have to
Mhm.
live, I call it inside out manifesting. You have to go to what you want and you have to live there. And you have to live there as much as you possibly can while you also walk in this world. So let's say you want to go on my retreat in the UK in the beginning of September. So we have people like, well, how do I manifest that? Well, the first thing you have to do is decide. Not be in doubt and go back and forth, because again, what are you doing? I want this. The universe starts bringing it to you. I can't have it. I shouldn't do it.
Mhm.
Oh, I shouldn't spend the money. Oh, if the money's on a credit card, I don't think I should do it. Oh, I have debt. I should pay first. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So then you imagine that the universe is going here. Oh, no, take it. Oh, here. Yeah. Oh, so this is what we're doing. And
Yeah.
I was talking about the voice of debt. So it basically said, why are you so excited and want me to come into your life? And then very quickly you hate me and you blame me, and you have all these people talking and teaching things, like how to get out of the evil clutches of debt. I don't know if you own a home, but there aren't many people in the world who can own a home without debt, and
Mhm.
there's very few people who own a car without debt. So debt isn't evil. And when you want a house, anybody done that? I want a house. I want a house. Oh, I found this house. I can see myself in the house. I'm raising my kids in the house. This is the most amazing house. Oh my God, I want the house. Oh, I hope I get the loan. I hope I get the loan. I hope I get the loan. I'm paying my thing, right? What happens pretty soon? And then you're putting that energy into that. And then that money is going to that bank, and then you're giving them that energy. And then you're going out to other people and going out to other people. This is a form of circulation. This is a form of light energy that is taken on a role to either let us infuse it with love and multiplication and gratitude and harmony and peace and whatever else you want to put in there, joy, or fill it full of anger and blame and lack and requirements. I call it you're giving requirements to the universe, where money and other things are having to perform acrobatics to keep it away from you, because it's right here. It's already done. You can't imagine something that isn't already there.
Right. Oh, I love it. So I'm going to actually pause here for a second and see if any of our guests have any questions or comments that they would like to share, or it could be an experience that you've had with anything that we've been talking about today, and see and give them a chance. You can either come off mute and start talking. You could do the hand raise, or you could put it in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable about. But I just want to see if you ladies might have a comment.
Yeah. And going back to the thing of like the victim it was shocking to me because I always thought myself as not good enough and I was a massive people pleaser. And therefore then I thought I was better than people because I was the nice one. I was the one who put everyone else first. I was the one that didn't ask. I was the one that didn't, I felt like, oh, don't be greedy, don't ask, don't be vain, don't be, okay, I'm the one doing all that. And what am I doing? I'm stopping my power. I'm not getting what I want. I'm miserable. I'm resentful. I'm full of all that. But I'm thinking that that somehow makes me better. This is a common conditioning. And then when you feel all these things for yourself, then if you're constantly going around, I was trained that the only time you really got any attention or approval was when you were hurt or sick, or you worked so hard you practically fell over dead, like you had to suffer a lot. Couldn't just go normal work. And so that's a program, that, oh, if I'm oh, I feel like I want attention or I need help from people. If I show up and I look a little bit pathetic, or I look like I'm really worked hard, or, we think we can prove to spirit with our hard work or our wounds or what we've given up that because we've been taught that it is not going to get you anything.
You
Spirit does
know,
not respond to it, does not recognize it, except to give you more of it.
Well, and you just saying that remind like the word that came to mind was martyr, as being a martyr.
Exactly.
Because I'm just going to overdo everything so that when I show up, people see it and they'll be like, oh, you're such a great person. But what's interesting in that is I'm like, very rarely do I ever hear somebody comment about the person that's like that they're a great person. Usually hear them go, they're nuts. Like, why are they doing that to themselves? you know?
Right? Other people can see that. I know
Mhm.
one time, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, I guess. I don't know, really have that concept anymore, but many years ago, 15 years ago or something, I've done a lot of stage speaking, and I lived in California, and I was speaking on all the stages in the industry, and I knew most of the top speakers, and I was at a speaker luncheon, like at a hotel ballroom thing where we had all been speaking, and then you went in and sat at these big round tables with like 8 people per table, and they were serving you lunch, and they were all the other speakers. And I was sitting next to a guy that I'd known a long time. He was very, very successful, and he's a business coach, but had gotten into spiritual things, and he was teaching a kind of a healing thing. And it was something that he would just walk up to people and say, "Oh, can I bloop you?" And whatever. Okay, bloop, and he'd do something. And so we knew each other pretty well, and I'd been to his house and all that. So we were just chatting away. And he just leans over and he goes, it's really important that you let go of the self-esteem problem. He was so right, but at the time I was mortified. I'm there as an expert. I'm supposed to be positioned as an expert. I thought I was faking it, like I was like, oh, nobody knows that I don't think I'm good enough. Because I can get on stage and I can talk, and you can do all this stuff, but you're still carrying that inside of you. And it's not bad. It's just the metamorphosis we go through. But the fact that he knew that, and then he said, could I do this little thing to you? And I was just like, okay. I was dying inside, just dying, just, and I left, and for a long time I was just like, I don't want to be around him. I understand how people feel about me because I can see through people, right? So it's like a lot of people don't like that, But it was, looking back now, it was such a gift because that's me speaking to me. That's spirit speaking through him to me. Money doesn't come from people. Money doesn't come from a job. Money doesn't come from a business. Money comes from source through wherever you're willing to receive it.
Right.
And the advice, the guidance, the spiritual fairy goddess mother, will appear, and who knows who it's going to come through.
Right.
Knows what's going to come through. After my daughter died, my husband was he was in school, nursing school. He was an aerospace engineer and he decided he didn't want to make things that killed people anymore. And for some reason, he got called into nursing. So everyone was standing around scratching their heads. And he was, uh, he was in a class called Death and Dying, and he really liked it. And then my daughter died. And then he went into hospice. So I watched his purpose come into his body as she was leaving her body. It was very interesting. And afterwards, he was in the hospital one day, and a janitor, a woman janitor, walked up to him. He didn't know her, he was just walking down the hallway. And she said, "You have an angel over your shoulder." And he
Oh,
said, "Oh, well, maybe that's my daughter, she just passed on." And the lady says, "Oh, yes. And she has this message for you." So you don't know where, for all we know, this woman doesn't even know she said it. Or maybe she's the janitor oracle of the hospital. Maybe she's an angel taking it. There's mysterious ways in the universe. That's why we have to unhook from the how. And that's
mhm.
a good advice, around this topic of reaccessing your intuitive powers is a surrendering, allowing yourself to have what you want isn't what we thought it was, you know, becoming the queen again, the authority within you. Go have champagne, wear a crown. I don't care, but that's
Right.
not the purpose again, right? It's about you accepting yourself and deciding that it's time to trust your inner voice. And then that will always guide you, because the eternal now moment is where everything is. So in the past and in the future, we can access all kinds of amazing things because we've been here creating this planet for eons. So
Right.
there's so much in the Akasha, there's so much in the fifth element, there's so much wisdom and horror too that we can access. And so we have this possibility now that as we wake up and we really recognize it's time for me to walk as a wise one, expect to be cared for, expect for the doors to open, for harmonious, kind, generous people, that everything flows to me through my natural gifts, through what I love to do. Financial abundance comes to me through my spiritual gifts in the right optimal resources, timing, and people. And the universe is taking care of the how. That then you follow inspired action instead of chasing.
And how nice is that? That, like you said, the universe is taking care of the how. Like, you don't have to worry about it. So why are you taking on that responsibility of how am I going to make this happen? Where is it going to come from? When you literally can just hand it over to the universe and just allow it to come. Like,
It
it's
feels weird, right? It feels
yeah,
weird at first,
right?
and I'm a workaholic, and I'm a make it happen person, and all of that,
Mhm.
and I even started my spiritual path with that same thing. I'm doing the spiritual path, and I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to read everything. I brought that same energy to it, and then you slowly realize, it's okay. We have intense periods of just wanting to absorb a lot of information, and then we have times
Mhm.
of rest. Then our ego mind wants us to be doing something all the time instead of going more with that natural flow. It's a very weird transition to go from our conditioned mind into actually believing this, because you might have times when you don't know how you're going to pay the bills. You might have times when it looks like it's not working out, and then the doubt girl wants to come up and say, and that's where you master. That's where you become the master, because masters don't stop the hurricane. They don't avoid the hurricane like I'm on another planet. They walk through the hurricane just like us at a different state of consciousness. It means something different. They relate to it differently. All right. They see it differently. It means something different, and they know they're the ones in charge of it. So I use the hurricane as an example of, like, the other conditioning that really prevents us from prosperity is believing that, well, if you did it right, you would be successful now. Or if you were meant to be in business, then your business would just keep making more money every time, and clearly you don't know what you're doing. If you're having a natural cycle to things you do. Or, my parents thought that you should stay in one business your whole life. There's something wrong with you if you have many different interests. And so we were melting these old things and what they mean, and now you get to create it. So why not go ahead and create it? The thinking about the how is literally like this, and it's so literal. Your words are little containers and you fill them with an energy. And if you have a spiritual business, if you have a business, and you want to either figure it out or grow it or figure out, how to market it or whatever it is, you have to not go, I want a business. How do I make a business? It's going to take a long time to make a business. I'm going to have to take these 10 courses to figure out how to do a business. And then I'm going to have to write an outline. And then I'm going to have to do all this stuff. There is that. Okay. You have to connect to the spirit of that business because it's a thing, it's a person, it has its own plan. And if it's reaching out to you, it reached out to a lot of other people. Anybody ever get an idea for a book and 10 years later somebody else wrote it, or tomorrow? Okay. Because that idea comes across in a wave through the level of consciousness that we're in. And whoever takes that idea and starts to express it through their own unique stuff, and you don't, then that's fine too. But then you say, oh, someone else wrote my book. All right. So be in the moment and realize who you're thinking you are, and then go into the future moment. And if you don't know all the details, it's actually very, very good. So when you want to be at the end result, start with how does it feel? And most of my students say, I just want peace. I just want harmony. I just want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love myself. That's the bottom line, right? I want money and I want all that stuff, but okay, well, let's start with that. What would that feel like? What would it feel like when I woke up in the morning if I actually, had peace inside of me? Oh, what would it feel like when I'm talking to this person, when I go to work, when I'm looking at my body in the mirror? What would it feel like? How would it feel to have peace? That was my number one request after my daughter died, is after I decided to stay alive, was I just kept asking for peace. I just didn't want to feel the pain and the turmoil and the questioning and the guilt and the blame, and because I thought it was all my fault, and because that's just the way I was raised. Everything was my fault, So you can shift very, very quickly, but unplug from requiring things to show up in a certain way, in a certain time, and because it's like the fly, boom, 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 and dies on the wall and on the windowsill when all the doors were open. So we have to step into our senses and say, what if I change my perspective? And my perspective is money loves me. The flow of abundance is here to work for me. All my angels are standing here, lining the path, holding this out. Every moment and place and time laid out in my timeline already has everything there, but it doesn't appear unless I show up. It listens to me, and I say, oh, well, it never works out for me, and oh, I'm broke, and oh, I wish I could go, but it's not feasible right now. Then when you show up in that next moment, they've all arranged you to see that. See, look, it's not feasible. I told you it wasn't feasible. If you declare that, like somebody tells me they want to come on a retreat and they're trying to figure out money, time, job, dog care, whatever, and it's like, okay, if you truly know you want to come on the retreat, it is done. It's already happened. And there's many, many, many incarnations and timelines where you have done it. You've done it when you were sick. You've done it when you were happy. You did it when you were, like every version you could imagine of how you might show up on that retreat, it already exists right there. So if you go, okay, I'm going to step into it. What does it feel like when I'm there? Who will I be talking to? I'll be hugging someone. I'm going to go to sleep in the bed there. I'm going to get to see this beautiful sunset. I'm going to do these things. You start to make them real. You find that underlying energy, right? Then you're there. If you're there, you've gone like this. I'm here staring at the fort. How do I do this? How do I get over this fort? How do I get past this? How do I get past the money, the debt, the husband, the this, the that? What do I do? How do I do it? That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be going, yes, that's for my soul. That's for, and then immediately, ooh, you fly over the fort into the end result. You land there, you walk around there, you dream there, you talk from there, you talk to your future self, you merge, you embody, you become it. And then the universe, if you're already there, if it's done, it already happened. You don't have to figure out how to make it happen. Then the synchronicities come. Then you take action. You watch for, I wonder why I keep thinking about Susie. I don't know. I'm going to text Susie. Hey, Susie, what's up? Hey, you know what? I've been thinking we need to go on a trip. Hey, you know what? You want to go on this trip? Yeah, guess what? I'll pay. Okay. Like, that's not fantasy.
It happens. It really does happen. It's It's so interesting that you're talking about a trip because I just went through well, I just booked 2 trips for myself, which I'm going to tell you I've never done because of all that energy that we talked about before. Oh, how am I going to pay for it? What am I going to do with my pets? Like, how am I going to get time off of work? All of that completely so resonant with me. And one day I was literally just sitting here at my desk and I was like, I'm going to take a trip. And then I got online, I made a decision, that's what I was gonna do. I went online, I was like, "I'll figure it out." I put on my credit card and which interestingly enough, I was okay with. I put it on my credit card and then, you know, all of a sudden, I have somebody who will take care of my pets. I have that weekend off. And then, um, and then I literally just sent the payment into the credit card that paid it off, like, for the
Yeah.
trip, and I was like, "This is amazing," and all I did was make the decision was I'm taking a trip. I've never done this for myself, I've always put it off, and I'm going to do it, and
Yeah.
then I did. I sat there, Nan, it was so funny. I sat there for, like, an hour like this, just imagining what it would be like and
Yes.
everything else, and when I was all done, it truly felt like it had already happened, and then everything fell into place, and
That
the
that's a
reason
perfect description. Just what you
yeah,
said. That's exact description of real manifestation.
yes, and it was effortless, so
Yeah.
effortless. I just made that decision, and, you wanna hear the funny thing is is that I planned my trip, I'm so excited, it's all taken care of, and then the other day I was sitting here and I'm like, "I wanna take one in October too." Did the same thing, and everything fell into place.
Yeah. I've been doing retreats for a very long time, and I can tell you that at least a third of the people who come have no money, no job. One lady was homeless, another lady was living on her mother's couch. People will start out like, how can I go on a retreat when I have debt? The rule in my head is I have to pay my debt off before I do
Right.
that. And again, when you go into the energetics of money, why did the debt come? We turned a gift and a sign of being trusted into something that we condemn.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting when you get deeper into the energies of are you appreciative, not just of the money as like God or something, but that this energy is agreed to take this form. And so, but what you said is exactly it. We've been taught when I see it, I'll believe it. When it comes, I'll do it. When I have somebody tell me, well, when the money falls in my lap, then I'll come. And I know they're not coming because they've literally told the universe, well, when the money comes, well, that doesn't mean the money's here. But if you get out of the way and you just say, is this, don't get ego crazy, okay? Go in like you did. Go in and say, okay, if this is really what spirit wants, then there's a way. And
Mhm.
I'm going to listen and I'm going to take steps forward that are in spirit, in my heart, not like, go on a crazy shopping spree or something. We're not telling
Right.
you to do that, right? But then you would not, unless you stepped in, the opportunities, the ideas, the sale, the whatever it was, it's not going to appear in your life because you hadn't made a decision. So I used to literally ask money, like, why don't you appear? And they said, because you didn't decide. Why would we show up and start giving you information about something you don't want? So when you think, oh, well, the universe will show it to me and then I'll know. No, we're backwards. We can't wait anymore. We can't wait for spirit to ask. Spirit's waiting for us to say. We have to be the ones to decide what we want, when we want it, how we want it. And we are deciding that by how we feel and what we think and what we say, but most of it's by default. And yes, old patterns and subconscious beliefs are operating and creating. And that's where you become conscious of that and you tip the scales with these conscious tools to effectively change. But I can tell you that when you step in, it's like, oh, there's 80 ways of you going on this trip. Oh, okay, show me. Well, no, you didn't decide. Okay,
Right.
so it's an agreement, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to go, you place the order, I'm going on this trip, and then you step through that door. Then they're going to say, oh, okay, bring that one over, make this one intersect with her, make sure she watched that TV, let this thing come up on her phone, right? There's this whole variety of things that happen that are those doors only open for you. They're only exist inside of your field of bliss or your light body, right? Or you. And there are these soul points that have been agreed upon. But when you show up in each moment, you are the key. And in that moment, there's multiple doors. It could open to $1 billion or it could open to a car accident. You know, it's like everything is in that moment. And you open that key, that moment with who you are vibrating. What is your overall vibration? What is your field radiating that frequency? It's like a cell phone. Okay. It's like a cell phone number. You're dialing out a certain frequency or you're radiating out a certain frequency. And that is telling. So if you say with your words one thing, but internally you're incoherent, okay, you have to have coherence. Many people here probably heard of heart mind or heart brain coherence, the 4x4 breathing, you know, the different things we can do to bring stress down, to literally drop our pulse, our heart rate, all these things. We have massive control over our bodies, but this is the idea of coherence in your thoughts and your visions, so that you're not working against yourself, you're not canceling out what you're doing, you're not erasing what you're doing. And so when you embody this, you have to have substitution statements for your common things you say that cut you off. Once you realize what they are, create an alternate statement. And everything in spirit at this point is repetition. We have to still adhere to repetition because we have all of our life being a certain way, believing a certain way, embedding certain habits, responses, you know, neural pathways in our brain, electrical systems in our body. And so it's natural. So the other thing to unhook from around prosperity is don't be desperate, be delighted, be receptive and open and expectant, like every day, like, ooh, what's going to happen? Where is it going to come from? If I arrive in a moment and I realize I'm grumpy or things aren't kind of lined up or it's not going smoothly, and I'm sort of like, but I ask for things to be in harmony, I stop and I go, oh, in this moment, that's very interesting. In this moment, everything exists. Exactly what I want, exactly what's optimal for me is here. The solution to everything is in this moment. So if I sit here and go, oh, this is bad, it's terrible, blah, 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 then what's going to happen? Nothing. I'm just going to sit in that, create more of that, attract more of that. And that's pretty common. And then go home and try to get over it by drinking wine or whatever, and then instead I say, oh, wow, where is the solution? Everything's in the infinite eternal now, and I'm in the now. Oh, and everything responds to my words and to my thoughts. So, what if I found a secret door? What if someone showed up right now? I literally was walking on the beach one day last summer, and I was playing with this idea that I am the source, I am the divine, I'm the manifester, and everything I'm looking at is my creation. Like, not like, oh, I'm so great, but like it's the output
Mhm.
of me. And I was saying, well, if this was really all of me, what would I want? And I thought, I love rainbows. I want a rainbow. And about 3 minutes later, I looked up and I kid you not, there was a friggin' rainbow out over the
I
ocean.
love it.
It was just delightful. Like, does it make a difference? No. Did it make me $1 million? No. But it's that kind of thing that if you look for it in the moment, you'll find it.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. Yes. Finding your no, creating your rainbow is what is really what I mean. I love that. I love that idea. As you're saying that, I'm like, I'm gonna go do that today.
Yeah,
And
play
just
with it. Then you have to,
create. Yeah.
immediately I went into my little girl that thought, oh, well, if it doesn't happen, then I'm a loser. Like you have to, all of these things are a chance to poke those deeper beliefs that are hiding still, and then
Yes.
it's like the first thing is like, I want a rainbow, is like, who do you think you are to get to order a rainbow? Like, but what if
Right.
you don't get a rainbow? Then that means you're not good enough. And then you got to work harder. Like you don't take those and listen to them. You take them and say, ooh, there's some more, weeds that I get out of the garden. Come on over here. Let's turn you into a nice salad instead of trying to hold me back. So everything, don't get upset if old patterns come up because everything spirals. It
Mhm.
looks like old, but it's not. And like we said earlier, the older wisdom, a lot of it is coming to the basics that we have to embody. And the priestesses keep telling me that the human telepathic network, I think is kind of what they're saying, like, is so dumbed down. Yeah, I guess that's the best word. That that it's a basic. It's like not being able to see. It's like not being able to, if your nerves don't work, then, how do you know if you're touching something hot? Like if you watch, like this morning, there were sandpipers. And if you've ever walked and seen the sandpipers, are little tiny birds on the beach, and they're always in little groups, and then they take off. Nobody says, okay, get ready. We're about to take off. Prepare. Here's the GPS for it. Rev your engines. In a minute, we're all taking off. Now make sure you listen to the instruction of the inspector. Nobody's doing that. They just go, boom, 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 and then they all land. And they're in perfect formation. What in the world? I mean, we've seen it, so we don't think about it, but we're supposed to be that way too.
Oh, I
That's
love that.
what telepathy is. It's senses that are plugged into the essence of who we are, that then provides everything into the field. And we're just in the field. We're like the pilot. We're just taking it, the energy of flowing with what's coming.
I love it. Oh, Nan, as always, it's always so wonderful to talk to you. I could sit here honestly and listen to have a or listen and have a conversation with you all day long. It's so amazing. So before we end, you are you have your donation gift is amazing. I have to tell you. um so you are offering, it's called Spiritually Heal Trauma Now and in Past Lives, and it's a big gift bundle. Do you want to talk about that? I have it all listed because it's quite a bit, but would you like to talk about it, or do you want me to read what I've got for you?
Well, I can share. So there's several meditations, I guess you could call them. Everything I do is very multidimensional as a shaman, an energy worker, and so on. So everything is going to be relaxing, safe, love. It's going to take you into a sacred chamber between the worlds that's always aligned to what's optimal for your highest good. So you can really surrender. And one of the things that's very common is shame. We're all programmed with shame. I mean, if you came from a world like I did, it was a common thing for people to say shame on you, which is a really horrific curse. So break that habit. If you inherited it, don't say it to your children, please. And shame is the lowest state of consciousness. And so if you look at the scale of consciousness, which we give you here, you get to understand that at the lowest state of consciousness means the lowest state you can be in a body and still be able to function. So in shame, you don't have a lot of energy. So if you have shame mixed in with other higher energies, right, it's lowering. It's like ice and water. Everything is going to come into homeostasis. And so we have shame from other lives. We have shame from our families that we agreed to carry and probably release right now. And when you're at that low state of consciousness, emotional field is so sticky that you don't have a lot of energy and power. And so I've done a lot of we call them sacral secrets sessions or something, where we go deep into kind of a soul retrieval thing, really around the sacral, because this is our place of shame. It's a place of power. It's a place of secrets. It's a place of sex. It's a place of wisdom. It's a place of all things hidden, powers that are hidden up, and it's a place of creation. So it's a cleanse audio. It's a cleansing audio, and you just put it on and lay down, go to sleep to it if you want. But I guide you through it, and it's actually working on a lot of levels to release those patterns and those lives. Then communicate with your past lives is another meditation. This is a really fun one because it's a process you can keep repeating. These are things you repeat. So the more you repeat something, as long as you feel energetically or intuitively drawn to the shame cleanse, do it. Do it as often as you want. If you feel that shame is holding you back, or it isn't holding you back, or you don't know if it's holding you back, then give it a try. See what comes up, because we have layers that unravel. So it could be it's a shame cleanse, but what happens is you go in and find your guilt, or you find your blame, or you find where you're being a victim. So it may reveal something else. And communicate with your past lives is literally that. It's a container where I guide you through going in and creating a space where you could connect to another life, and past life, future life, parallel life, however you want to frame it. And what the reality of that is it's fun. But it's really about reconnecting now with the parts of us that were wise, the parts of us that are holding trauma that we're holding, and we can free both of us. And not only does that unravel heavy patterns that we've carried into this life, but that life as well. And then both of us have energy freed to move forward. It's like freeing a life from ending where it did in pain and death and suffering and whatever, and the belief that, oh, I don't ever want money because people attacked me and killed me for my money, or I don't ever want to use my voice because I convinced everybody to fight the king and they all died and it's my fault. Like, these are literal, and these patterns pass down. So you could go to one where that happened, and that memory and understanding will help you understand things that you're carrying now. But it's not designed to hurt you, it's designed to empower you, because you free that life. And now both of you can say, oh, that life's stuck in this eternal idea of money is bad, or I'm never speaking up again, and there's pain. And that's part of our trauma. We attract trauma. What's happening in the world around you is a reflection, it's a mirror, very literal. And then there's $30 off of a soul session with me, and also a video that we did about trauma release and emotional freedom. Those are the keys to your healing and intuitive powers. And again, it really does come back to your intuitive powers. Like, the more you trust yourself, the more you accept that sacred feminine has so much more that could come forward for you, that could bring you solutions, that could bring you peace, that could release you from your pain, that could, you could just change how you view something. You no longer blame somebody or yourself. Right there. Transformation, profound transformation. And that is a recommendation I have for everyone, because blame is the emotional state of guilt, which is the second lowest state of consciousness. So as long as the world is blaming, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's your fault, it's my fault, that means you're never, just the way we talked about manifesting, get into it, don't talk from it, from outside of it, from it. It's the same thing. If you're blaming, then you're saying it's your fault. That means you have no power. If somebody else has the power to make that happen to you, even when you blame yourself, then that part of you gets locked away in a way, energetically and psychologically, and that part of you is afraid or feels condemned or feels not worthy, and that just contributes to attracting more of that energy. So this is a self-realization process, and the best thing to do is to say, I love myself, I love my life, I love everything in my life. Generous, fun, harmonious opportunities are here every moment I arrive. And it's so wonderful to believe and to know that in this moment, everything is here for me, and it's designed exactly the way I like it. And I get to discover more of who I am and the people who want to play, and more and more. And you can keep playing that way no matter how many skeptics you have in your life.
I
Come
love
play
it.
with us. We'll play with you that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll play with that. Oh, and then two more things, because well, you mentioned the one you mentioned the magic, the money manifestation magic workshop for $3.
Mhm.
And then you also have another upcoming event, um that's the Stonehenge goddess event.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's coming up in the beginning of September. So we have two parts to it. The first part is called the Lost Queen's Pilgrimage in Glastonbury. We're going to be channeling and speaking to the priestesses, the goddess, the sacred feminine, and men can come too. And we're going to be going to the chalice well, the White Springs, doing water magic and reclaiming. It's the center of the heart of the world, and then we're going to go to where Guinevere and Arthur are buried, which is the heart of the heart, and activate the chakras in the ground, and work with Mary Magdalene and Eve and Morgana and a lot of the sacred feminine energies that have been condemned, ruined, Mary Magdalene called a whore when she was a princess or a queen, like this kind of thing, which is very common across history. Those things are being resurrected, and they've literally called us to say, if you want to reclaim your power, if you want to understand what sacred feminine intuitive wisdom is, this is a chance to come to a sacred place and free your heart from those beliefs about who you are, and forgive yourself and forgive everyone else that you might be holding that energy onto, because again, that only just creates more of it. And then after that, for 3 days, we're going to be with Maria Wheatley. You might know her from Gaia TV. She wrote the book Secrets of Stonehenge, and she's a druid, a goddess woman, and an incredible woman who's doused. She lives there near Stonehenge, all these sacred sites. We're going to be going on the full moon, the lunar eclipse, and the high moon, doing magic in these ancient goddess temples where rarely anybody goes. We're crawling in. She knows where all the spirals and the earth energies are. You're going to be able to feel them and see them. And we're going to be doing ceremony and sound healing and at all these amazing, amazing sites. So activating the stones, allowing the ancient priestesses, the ancient queens. And another thing she's done is she discovered the long-skulled people of the British Isles and the queen, a specific queen that was buried in one of these temples, and she tracked down the remains, which is in a university, and was able to speak to this skeleton, the bones of this queen. And now this queen is a major guide in her life. And so we bring a picture of that queen and we become her voice and of her people, and we reactivate that. So it's for you, it's for the cosmos, it's for the planet, and it's super beautiful too. Yeah. And then also Maria will be coming to Mexico next year, and we're going to be doing a really epic retreat here with my Mayan priest and her going to the sacred sites, both doing sacred ceremony with the priest who understands also. He was the director of Chichen Itza, so he used to be able to go into everything and understand the sacred wisdom and the real names and the real symbols and the real words. And then Maria bringing all the stuff she's learned about the pyramids on Mars are a direct mirror of the pyramids here.
Mm-hmm.
So there is just like the mysteries are coming out. Yes.
Oh, I love it. I do love it. Yes, I kind of sit back every day and I'm like, oh, I'm all just more and more information coming out.
Yeah, I was thinking about you saying, I want to take a trip. And I was like, come to one of my retreats.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we were talking about is like manifesting a retreat is a really juicy experience because it has a date, right? And if you declare it and you start putting money towards it, or you buy your ticket or something that commits you to it, then there's this like, oh, there's this path, but this amazing experience. It changes everything in your life from that moment on. And so when you do that and you say yes, like I was 2 years ago, Spirit told me to go to Greece. I love Greece and I have lots of memories in ancient Greece as a oracle and all that. I was like, yes, I'll go to Greece. But my husband had a seizure, and I was taking care of him, and I just didn't think I could leave him. And so I thought, I don't even know how to do this. So I had to go through all this inner work. Should I, how? And make sure it wasn't my ego. And I did. And then I thought, if I hadn't done that, my life would be so different. Then last year, I got invited to speak at a conference in Glastonbury. And the same thing, like, should we go? Can we go? Could Chris come? What if we make money? Don't make money? I don't know. Then I said, yes, you've got to go. So I just listened to Spirit. And then I said, okay, I'll do my own retreats. And then I looked for somebody, and I found Maria through some weird video. She was actually speaking at the conference with me, but I didn't find her that way. I found her some other random way. And now we're best friends and we're doing more retreats together. It's like, there's an infinite amount of possible lives you could be living if you took that one step into the unknown, and instead of going in like, oh, there are gonna be consequences to pay when I come back. Yeah, they could be really good ones.
Right.
So, listen to that. Really, really listen to that. Another one I do want to share, just because I appreciate you letting us. There's a really sacred retreat happening here in December, and it's really for the people who feel that centered heart. So I'm very blessed to live in the land of the Maya, and am learning from a priest, a wisdom keeper. And he is putting on an event in December, and it's here, and it's about the sacred feminine rising and preparing for what's called the Chikaban, which is in 2027, a 52-year of cycle of the Pleiades begins, and to the Maya, that's one of their origins, and it's an era of peace. But it's called the era of the sacred fire, the new fire. And what that means is that we have to prepare, because our current consciousness cannot enter that era of peace. We will enter in some other dimensional way. And so it's a beautiful ceremony. I'm going to be doing one day. He's doing one day. There's another lady who channels, a high priestess from Palenque. Just amazing, beautiful energies. We're going to be going to the Sacred Feminine University. And so that's a small retreat. I think there's still some seats left for that, but I think it's on my website. But if you're interested, let me know, because it's definitely a soul calling, and it's super. It's like a soft retreat. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really deep and spiritual, but we're going to be staying on the beach outside of a town, turtles and sunsets and ceremony. And it's
So
just a very
cool.
beautiful essence. So, and everything that I do is about experiencing a transformation that is in the most loving and optimal way for you. So you may go through some, people might get triggered. I went on one to Egypt where I had panic attacks for a while because it really triggered something. But then when they healed, it was a huge shift. So anyway, thank you. And yeah, come on over and play.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. So, uh, I'm going to say all of what you talked about is in your speaker center with the exception of the last of the last retreat that you talked about. So I'm more than happy to also include that when we're all done here. Um, Nan, thank you so much. I seriously, I really enjoy talking to you, and
You too.
please, all of you, please stay connected because Nan will be coming on again, and I love it. I don't remember exactly when, but you will be coming on again, and you
In the
know,
new year, yeah. Around
yes, I
Circle
love it.
around the new year because we're going into the fire horse. So, we're coming out of the yin snake year. We're very deep in the earth, right? We want to grow, we're wood, we want to build, but we're shedding. And next year we are going to go so fast. That's why I say, like, now do your ceremony. Now look at what's coming up for you. Now listen to your spirit. Now start to practice letting go and trusting because things are only just beginning to accelerate.
Right.
It's a possibility, but we want to be on top of the wave, not under the wave. So
Yes, yes, yes. And it is. It's accelerating very quickly. So I 100% agree with you. So thank you again. Thank you everybody who also showed up today and everybody who will be watching the replay. I have so much gratitude in my heart for you, Nan, for everyone that watches, and we'll be back again next week. We'll be back with Evangeline Hemrick. So please stay tuned. Oh, Nan, thank you so much.
yeah.